Well, the video we did not want to make. We were planning on having some sort of reaction video to Italy-Portugal or Italy-Turkey, but we're here now as Italy lose 1-0 to North Macedonia in quite embarrassing fashion. A long shot in the 92nd minute from I have no idea who.
Tchaikovsky or something?
I don't
think.
know. He plays in the Saudi Arabian League, which makes it even worse, as it beat Donnarumma from 25 yards out. I don't know how last year he would have saved it, but now it beats him. And Italy are out for the second straight World Cup, 8 years since their last World Cup game. And to compound things, Bonucci and Chiellini retire without playing a World Cup game. World Cup knockout game, even though they won the Euros. Quite embarrassing. I just continues to make matters worse. This team is an absolute train wreck at the moment, and I don't even know how they managed this. You know, everyone was setting this up as Italy, Portugal, Ronaldo versus the Euro winners, or even a potential surprise Turkey win, but none of that. We got absolutely none of that. Italy completely just did nothing really. They made Macedonia's life pretty easy, in my opinion. For a team that had a lot of the ball, they did get a lot of chances. A lot of it was blocked. They didn't create that much. Most of their mistakes came from, most of their chances came from Macedonia mistakes, like the Berardi one, which yes should have gone in. But for a team that would had that much of the ball, more should have been created.
Just a poor game. They had a lot of shots. Like, you look at the stats, it looks like Italy dominated with the shots, but just not many on target.
No.
Just not clear-cut chances that should be put away. I think it all goes down to the tactics and the lineup of the team. Poor from Mancini. He just doesn't play their strengths, and I know you have some strong opinions about that.
Yeah, especially when you have two injuries like Chiesa and Spinazzola. Yes, they're the most important players to the team, as you could tell, but that should not derail the entire system.
No.
You should be able to have a plan B if something like that did happen, and he clearly doesn't. He had none of that, and you can tell against Spain, played off the park. Chiesa saved us with a big goal, and then we defended well and won. But the signs were there. That qualifying was horrific. For a team that won the Euro, should have made easy work of that. That was simply embarrassing. The only time they scored more than 2 goals was against Lithuania. Just really poor. Really, really bad. Obviously, Switzerland, you had Northern Ireland, you had tying to Bulgaria. Like, come on. That should never be happening. We should never have been in this position to begin with. And I know people are going to say, oh, we lost one game, we didn't make it. And look at South America. Teams can lose 5 or 6 and still be in.
2 different confederations, different teams.
2 different things.
Different, paths to the World Cup.
You can't even compare it. You can't really compare it. Yes, it's odd, but Italy should never be in this position. The way the European qualifiers work, they kind of favor the big teams. That's why you rarely see this type of stuff. That's why it's such a shock when big teams like this miss the World Cup. But Italy should never have been here to begin with. And just the performance itself, it lacks so much. Like, Mancini, you could tell, did not give any sort of confidence. His press conference, he made it seem like, we're fine, we're Italy, we've won the Euros. We're full of confidence. He did not give his team confidence. That team never plays to their strengths. He sets up his team with the vision he wants and makes it seem like he has the players to use that type of style when he doesn't. You lose Spinazzola, you play Emerson in the same role when they don't have the same abilities. How are you going to get the best out of Emerson when you're using him in a role that doesn't suit his skill set? Insigne looked lost because he starts coming inside. Emerson starts holding the width, but it won't work because Emerson doesn't have the capabilities to attack very well. And who does that go? And who's the blame for that? Mancini. You're missing your best dribbler in Chiesa. Zaccagni's been unbelievable. I don't know the stat off by heart, but I'm pretty sure he's the most fouled player in Serie A. And what is the reason for that? He can take on his man. He's really good at dribbling that. It makes defenders really scared to tackle him, and they end up fouling him. You get into good positions for set pieces. Where was he? Watching from the sideline. Scamacca, been on incredible form. Tall player, can win battles in the air, which Italy were trying to do, being more direct. Where is he? In the press, it's not the press box, but sitting, watching from the stands. This is all Mancini's fault. Like, you don't give yourself the options to change the game. You had one winger on the bench. You had Joao Pedro coming in, who isn't even on form for Cagliari. He's not even on form. And you bring him on. Made no sense. Pellegrini on as a playing out wide, which I don't mind. But in a game like that, he has to be playing midfield. His ability to break lines is something that could have helped Italy. You're playing a team that is in a low block, and you're playing players that are just playing passes, 3-4 yard passes. You need players that are going to take risks, look to break opposition lines, and Italy had none of that. How do you expect to break down a low block with the players that were in midfield? That's the first part of the team, and the attack is a whole different scenario. I don't know.
Insigne's looked like he's had his head in Yorkville for the last few months of the season. He's been not very good. Berardi missing chances, and then Immobile just doesn't get the service. It's all Mancini that just messes up Immobile, to be honest. But he's a scapegoat. He's everyone's scapegoat.
I don't know how he continues to be the scapegoat. I mean, the guy has been the most prolific Italian striker for the past 5 years. And if we even go back to before that, he's one of the most prolific Italian strikers in the past 10, 15 years even. He won the Golden Boot. It's not something you could just take away from him. You can talk about penalties all you want, but the way he plays for Italy is nothing like how he plays for Lazio at all. As a whole, to not much. He's a guy that makes runs in behind. He's fast. He challenged the opposition's back four. And he wasn't used at all for that. He's used as a target man, which is what he's never been used as. And you're left wondering, why is he playing like this? Well, no wonder. If you watch him on a weekly basis, that's not how he plays. He doesn't play like this ever. So how do you expect him in international competitions where you get 1 to 2 games every window and you get barely any training to switch your whole play style, and you're not playing to the guy's strengths, and you wonder why he doesn't play well? That's Mancini's fault. Immobile can only adapt his game so much. He can only do so much with what he's been given. I don't know how in the world you can blame a guy who scores this much and say he's a bad footballer. To me, that's when your opinion is just valid. You don't watch the guy on a consistent basis. You're just basing it off a team that's completely disjointed when they attack, and it makes everyone look bad. It's a bunch of individuals and individual brilliance. That's the only way they can win, which was how we saw it in the Euros. But even the attack, Berardi and Insigne, they're not bad footballers. I don't know how these guys are labeled as bad players or whatever. Yes, Insigne has had a bad season. He hasn't looked like his normal self, but it's not for a lack of ability. It's where his situation's heading in the summer, in my opinion. But Berardi has 100 goals in Serie A. That's not an easy feat, especially playing for a team like Sassuolo. How are these guys bad footballers? Or are they just put in a position which they're not able to succeed? Berardi did all he could. He got unlucky. He should have scored. He was there. Insigne, yes, he had a bad game, but it's not like they're being put in positions to really succeed. You have a midfield that's incapable of splitting lines, incapable of putting players in behind. There's no combination play in and around the edge of the box. But Ella's playing way too far away from the box, a guy who is dangerous making runs into the box, never into the box. And again, who's that down to? Mancini. And you saw it. The team just doesn't know how to attack. They're not fluid in the way they attack. Unless if they don't have their best 11, they look lost, and we saw it again here. It's ridiculous. I don't know how the players could take more blame than Mancini when it's consistently the same thing. It's consistently struggling to attack. How is it the players? I don't understand. You're given a set of players. You have to adapt to what you have. The manager is supposed to adapt to the players he has, not the other way around. And it's like people think that it's an individual game where one player messes up and it's over. It's a team sport, guys. It's a team sport. If one guy messes up, that doesn't override the rest of the team. The whole team couldn't attack. Besides Berardi's few chances, what clear-cut opportunities did they have? Clear-cut, not half chances where a deflection came in or a guy slipped and didn't get full contact. Clear opportunities where it forced the goalie into a really good save. Not much. And in terms of the striker position, you can look at, Immobile shouldn't be playing. Well, whoever is playing striker, everyone got their wish of Insigne playing false nine in the international break before this one when they played Switzerland and Northern Ireland, and it was just as bad. It was just as bad. They didn't They didn't score. So is it down to Insigne? Is it Insigne's fault? I don't think so. Or is it the fact that Mancini just doesn't properly know how to use a front three? Or does he just kind of say, go out and just do what you can? It just seems like it's just individual brilliance. It's the only way they can win. I don't understand. It makes no sense how it can possibly be good footballers looking terrible in an Italy shirt, a lot of them, and they look good for their team. They look good for their club. This narrative that, the shirt is too big for them, the game is too big, the occasion's too big, to me makes no sense. You are playing Northern Ireland, you're playing Macedonia at home. How are these big games? You cannot make these seem bigger than they actually are. Like, it's not bigger than playing Spezia at home. You can talk about, sure, it's for the World Cup to make it, but at the end of the day, North Macedonia is playing with a team that barely has any players in top 5 leagues. How is that considered something where it is a massive game, it's too big for some of these players? It makes no sense. It comes down to Mancini not putting these guys in a position to succeed, playing a system which doesn't suit most of these players in a game like this. And this is what happens. This is the end result. And again, we're out of the World Cup. It doesn't matter if they play for Sassuolo. It doesn't matter if they play for Lazio. It doesn't matter if they play for Cagliari. If they're good players, they're good players. It doesn't matter where they are. It shouldn't matter if they only play for Juve, Milan, or Inter. It does not matter. If they're good, they are good. It should not matter. At the end of the day, Mancini failed them, and we're in this position now, and who knows where they go from here.
They got to let this smoke blow over the Italian Federation, but once it does blow over, what do you think is going to happen? Should they sack Mancini, and who would they bring in?
The options I'm hearing are Cannavaro, and I just don't see it. He was managing in the Chinese league for a bit. I don't see that as even close to an appropriate level to be managing a team with this much
4 World Cups,
this much scrutiny around it at the moment.
Passion.
But I don't know. I'd say even Pirlo would potentially be an option, but again, he needs, in my opinion, more. He needs just more experience.
Coaching experience, yeah.
Because he did well at Juve, in my opinion, but he just needs a little bit more experience because it's a lot different seeing a team every day than every few months. But just this team, I think it's a fine. The team is constructed well. You have a lot of different players. Italy have developed younger players. I think this narrative that they doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They have a capable striker. They have good wingers. They have an incredible depth in midfield. They are lacking a bit at center back and a bit at full back, I will agree. Even though Calabria was left, not even to watch in the stadium. He was at home. He was at home. They don't have any left backs. And goalkeeping, they have one of the best young goalkeepers in the entire world who's just off form right now. So I don't understand this narrative that they don't have young players. They have a capable roster that was just set up poorly, and we got what we deserved at the end of the day. And that's it.
I think the problems for Italy have been rooted for a long time, though. You look at, they won the last time they played a knockout stage, 2006, they won out, okay. You go to 2010, you can say they had a group, New Zealand, Paraguay, Slovakia. They should have blown that group away. You could say champions curse, whatever. Next World Cup, who do they have? England, Uruguay, Costa Rica. Should England and Italy should be top 2. Both went out. And then Euro 2016, they got knocked out by, Germany.
Germany, yeah.
Quarterfinal. World Cup 2018 didn't make an appearance. And they won the Euros. Everyone's like, oh, Italy's back. But I think it was just a one-off tournament, honestly. They played well the whole tournament. Good team. They had an interesting group. They got through it. They got through the knockout stages, but just the problems have been there for a long time. Scoring is a big thing for them.
Yeah, it's just
for a long time.
Not creating enough. That's it. That's all it comes down to. It's not having a plan when they attack. That's been the issue. It's just sideways. It's backwards. This team cannot counterattack. I've never seen a team slower in transition than Italy. I don't know how. There was a few times in that game where you're looking to play with pace. Macedonia finally committing men forward, and it's just slow. It's negative. It's almost waiting for the defense to reorganize to then attack again. I don't understand. It's just this system relies too much on individual brilliance, and not enough on what the players actually are.
Plan B in 2022 should not be Balotelli and Joao Pedro.
No.
That's an issue.
You have young players. You didn't use them. I don't know if it comes down to them. He's scared because he doesn't want to rely on guys that don't play for Milan or Juve or whatever. But to not have Scamacca there, Sakani,
I think he wanted players that had a bit more international experience than those players. But still, you got to put them in. If they're good enough, they're good enough.
Yeah.
Play them against North Macedonia. Play them against Northern Ireland, and you're in the World Cup.
Yeah. It's frustrating because it was there. We have the players. You didn't want to use them. Decides to play guys who played in the Euros but are off form, and you got what you deserved. If a player's not playing well at the moment, they don't deserve to play. I don't care if they won the Euros, if they were a key contributor to that team throughout the qualifiers, whatever. If they're not playing well at the moment, they don't deserve to play. And there was none of that. It was, well, he played in the Euros. Well, they should still be there. Like, does Jorginho deserve to play at this moment? Not really, even though he wasn't too bad.
But who else are they going to put? They didn't even call up Tonali. Not even an option.
Yeah, he did come on, but he should have started from the beginning. He's been Milan's best midfielder, and he's left again, coming in late. Didn't have enough time to influence the game, and here we are. We're left to wait another 4 years to see if Italy can make the World Cup.
On to 2026.
Yeah.
You can come and join Scotland or Serbia.
I think the crazy part is if you were to tell, let's say after Euro 2021, or the win, let's say, that Canada would be in a World Cup before Italy, a lot of people would laugh at you. And now we're in a situation where Sunday Canada can qualify and Italy play Turkey in a friendly for nothing.
With half their players sent home.
Half their players sent home. Simply embarrassing. The Federation should be embarrassed. Mancini should be embarrassed. Will anything change? Probably not. People just complain about the same players all the time. Scapegoat the same players, but miss what the real problems are with this team.
Yeah, it feels there's a certain agenda against certain people, which is just BS.
Yeah, and same things will happen like they always do, and we'll see for Euro qualifiers. Who knows, honestly. It really doesn't matter. Italy's reputation's been tarnished over the past 10 years, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens in Euro 2024 if they qualify,
Simply embarrassing.